Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Michael here, ChiCityYaker. Appreciate you for joining me on this video. We're gonna do a quick install modification. I'm gonna show you what I'm doing. And once this is done, I believe that my kayak, my Old Town Autopilot 136 will be in its final version. I don't think there's anything else that I'm gonna modify, change, or add to it. It's gonna be pretty much perfect for me and for the kind of fishing that I'm doing out on Lake Michigan for salmon and trout. So I'll do a separate video outlining all of the changes, like this final version of the kayak. Once this is done, it'll be in a separate video. But for today, I want to share this for all of you out there that run a Sportsman line. Most of this applies for most of the kayaks in the Sportsman line, except for the Big Water. Big Water has a different kind of a GearTrac system, but for most of the other ones, this can apply to you. So, and let me preface this by saying that for the over 2.5 years that I've had this this kayak, this Old Town Autopilot, I've used the stock GearTracs and they have never failed me. Big kings, putting big weights on it, having big fish finders on it, it's been just fine. But as I'm adding more stuff to my setup with the live scope and all these kinds of things, I just want a little bit more peace of mind. I don't want that stuff ripping off. Not that I believe it would, but I figure why not? If I invested a lot into this stuff, let me just make a quick modification just to give me that extra sense of security. So for 99.9% of you out there, the stock GearTrac is just fine. However, if you're going to do a lot of stuff, you're putting a lot of stuff on your GearTracs, then this could be a solution for you. And all it's going to take is a GearTrac from Yakattack. This is the Yakattack GT 175 top loading version. Those two versions of the Generation 2 GearTracs. There's the standard version, and then this is the top loading version. The difference with this, you can take your GearTrac and you can put it in from the top. You lean it in on the side, it clicks right in. It's very simple. You can always, of course, slide it through as how the standard one works. But if you have tight quarters and you want to sneak something in there, you put it in right from the top on a little bit of angle, it slots right in. So I like the top bearing ones, recommend these. It gives you a little more flexibility because let's say you have quite a few things on your GearTrac. You don't want to have to slide things in and out. You can just drop it right in place wherever you want it. So top loading GearTrac is what you're gonna need. This is also the largest size GearTrac. This is 16 inches. So if you're gonna do this on your Autopilot, grab the 16 inches. All right, this is the longest that they currently have available, I believe, almost positive. And then the kit comes with everything you need inside of here. All right. So what we're gonna do now is I'm gonna show you how to do this install. You got to remove the factory ones, and I'll show you kind of what I'm doing here. So let's go ahead and get started. Oh, before I forget, let me run down the items that you're gonna need to do this install. First, you're gonna need the GearTracs. Obviously, they come with the screws, so you don't have to buy any screws with that. You're gonna need a drill bit. All right, Phillips head on that side. You're gonna need some ring goop. At least I recommend it. And then finally, you're gonna need a 1/8 inch drill bit. This is what you're gonna use to pop in the holes so that you can put the screws into that. So let's get started. First thing we're gonna do is take out the screws at each end, put these off to the side. We're gonna need these in the end. Next, you're gonna take out the rest of the screws. And then we're gonna just lift it up and take them all out. And carefully put this off to the side because we'll save that for an emergency or if we need it later on. All right, once you take off the stock factory GearTrac, just gonna clean off this area. Make sure that the prior holes are kind of flush. So we lay the new GearTrac on it and it's as flush as possible here. Then we're gonna go take back the screws from the ends and we're gonna screw them back into the spots where they were originally at here. So I'll take this one. All right, and the reason I did that is for two reasons. One, it covers up those holes because the GearTrac that we're gonna replace it with isn't long enough to cover those holes. So it seals those holes. More importantly, I'm gonna use this back one, the one closest to my seat, as kind of a measuring point to put the new GearTrac and align it so that it's equal distance from the opposing side. So you're using it as a way to kind of just align this new GearTrac. So you're gonna lay your GearTrac on it, push it back to where it meets the screw right here. And when you do that, it lines up perfectly so that none of the new holes that you're gonna punch in here interfere with the pre-existing holes underneath it. So take your 1/8 inch drill bit here and go ahead and create some pilot holes. Now, before you start punching this hole, let me point out this big tip right here that make sure you're pressing down on the GearTrac so it's against the kayak itself, and push it back against the screw closest to your seat so that you have everything aligned and the holes are gonna stay in place so you can punch and pilot all your holes right here. So we're gonna start that now. All right, we punched the pilot holes in here, so we're gonna take the GearTrac off, just clean it all off so you got a nice fresh spot here. All right, we're looking good. Now we're gonna take the marine goop here and we're just gonna dab on each of the new holes. I didn't cover up the pre-existing holes from the factory screws. They don't go all the way down into the kayak, I don't believe. Doesn't look like it. I'm not really too worried about it. I guess if you wanted to, you could. I'm not. Some of these screws from the factory have some brass inserts in it, and I don't want to necessarily cover that up. So we're only going to worry about the new screws so that, you know, if you tip over, whatever, it helps to mitigate as much as possible water from going in there. Take the marine goop and just dab each of the holes. Dab, lift it up. All right. Dab, lift it up. And you're just going to, just a little bit over there. So that when the GearTrac rest over this, it creates, hopefully create a seal. That's the concept here. Creates a little bit of a seal so that the holes don't take on any water. All right, so once you've done that with the marine goop, go ahead and take your GearTrac, your new one, lay it back right over where it goes. It's gonna line up perfectly right there. And now we're ready to put the new screws in and complete this install. And one more tip when you're gonna install all these screws in here is start at one side and then go to the other side and opposite of it to kind of mount those corners, okay? I find that that helps to keep everything just even as you're screwing this all in. And then once you've done that, you've kind of really pushed the plate down to kind of form against the natural curvature of the kayak, and now the rest of these screws will be really easy. And then once you've got both ends completed on both sides, then you can just go down the row and finish off the rest as normal. And just like that, it's done. It's not going anywhere. It is just solid in there. When you go to put on some stuff on your GearTrac, remember, because we have the top loading version of this GearTrac Gen 2, what's great about it is if you have, for instance, a HD mount for the lock and load system, which is what I use and what I recommend for the rod holders, the Omega Pro rod holders, to just give you more oomph on your rod holders if you're dealing with big fish. On the stock GearTracs, it was always a little bit of a finesse to kind of get it into that little hole for the T-bolt to go into and then slide it down the track. Because this is top loading, what makes it so easy, you just line them up, put them in there, twist down, and it's in. Put it wherever you want along your GearTrac, sit you down, and we're ready to fish. We're done. Didn't take too long whatsoever, and it's gonna make a big difference on there. If you're adding a lot of things to your GearTrac, some guys are running like 2 head units, 2 graphs, plus a live imaging system. You got your rod holders, you got all the accessories on there. So if you feel like you need to upgrade, that's what I recommend here. And I'll put the parts down below in the description, and I'll also pin it in the comments section if you're looking for the exact GearTrac parts that I just used for this install. So hopefully you guys found this useful out there if you're considering doing the same thing. Be on the lookout for the full walkthrough of the completed version and modification of my Old Town Autopilot 136. And make sure you don't miss out on that video when it comes out by subscribing to the channel. Throw a thumbs up if you enjoyed it, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.